Okay, let's get the show on the road. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Tag Marshall's expert webinar, Increasing Revenue, Decreasing Costs While Leading MCOs like Troon are Embracing Optimization, Tech and Data. My name is Boris Sieber, CEO and co-founder of Tag Marshall, now in our 10th year, and I lost all my hair about 1 year in, and I think it's been the same picture since. That's not true. I'm delighted to have two guests on with me today. Mike Fosnick, the Director of Operations of Troon Golf. Mike, how are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic, great to have you back. And importantly, Cameron Nix, the head golf pro at Walter Hall Golf Course up in beautiful Seattle, one of the group. Cameron, great to have you on. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Brilliant. We've got a lot of fantastic content to get through, and thanks everyone for making a bit of time, and you're here to learn. So what I'd love to do is for Mike to give a bit of an intro on the group, specifically the group around Walter Hall and the various courses you work with. And then for Cameron to do an intro on Walter Hall and himself. And Mike, obviously you have a long and esteemed career. It's good to get a reminder of the highlights if you want to take it away.
Sure. So up here in the Northwest, Premier Golf Division, which is a division of Troon, we operate 11 golf courses with 7 different cities currently. With those, we do approximately 600,000 rounds a year. Most of those happen within a 7-month period. And the challenge for us, obviously, is all of our daily play seems to be rush hour traffic. We just don't have any lull time anymore. So when you get a lot of people playing golf at the same time, they're nudging their elbows a little bit. And we've always had challenges when it comes to pace of play and making sure our golfers are satisfied. So that's our biggest challenge in the Northwest. All of our golf courses continue to grow in revenue and rounds. I think a lot of that is due to the fact that we do a good job communicating pace of play. We do a good job letting the customers know right off the bat. And I'll let Cameron talk specifically about Walter Hall, but I'll also share some insights of what I think is different now that we've moved into a golf boom post-pandemic, and what our golfers are really looking for and how we are striving to meet their expectations and exceed their expectations. So I'll let Cameron talk a little bit more about Walter Hall and Everett.
Yeah, so I've been in the golf industry since 2016. Started with Premier Golf back at Legion Memorial in 2016. Worked summers there for a bit. Was an assistant up at Cedar Crest, one of the other Premier courses, for about 2.5 years, and then been down here at Walter Hall for about 2 years now. Course opened back in about 1972 or so. It's a par 72, 6,400 yard course. Did about 56,000 rounds last year. Kind of on pace to do about the same again this year. So it's really busy golf course from about April through kind of that end of September timeframe. But we do all those rounds pretty much throughout those 6-7 months. And we've used Tag Marshall a ton to really help us gain pace of play with doing that many rounds. And we do show that a lot right up in the pro shop as well. So I think we'll kind of get into that a bit and how we optimize Tag Marshall right at the customer when they walk in the shop.
Great. Thanks, Mike and Cameron. Exciting to have you on and learn a bit more. But let me just say up front that I love obviously what you guys do for the growth of the game, and the fact that you're so busy is a testament that you've got a really powerful offering, obviously, and that goes together with the municipalities and the cities who are obviously putting their money where their mouths is when it comes to growing the game and making sure that it is accessible. So this is great to see, but it needs to be managed, right? Because otherwise you're creating a nightmare both for the golfers and the operators. Yeah, before we dig into how you do things at the various courses at Walter Hall in particular, allow me, just 30 seconds on Tag Marshall. Things with us are also busy. We have grown, another almost just over 50% year over year. So the number of rounds that we're tracking also rises steadily. It's north of 10 million now in just a short few months, and obviously that's a lot of data that our system ingests. We're very lucky to work with some of the best operators, and obviously, you guys here with Troon are among that group, certainly from an MCO point of view. And there's also some standout clubs like both private and daily fee, and I think that's where we're in a great position, and we can help operators on both sides of the industry. And obviously delighted to work with the likes of Pinehurst, Brandon Dunes, Shinnecock, Valhalla, you have it, and you name it. And then there's also the tours, the DP World Tour, for instance, and more recently the RNA did the ladies British Ladies Championship tracking with our program. And we get to learn on that front too. But the main currency for us is data, and the more data we ingest, the more we can learn, and obviously the more clubs we work with, the better we can refine the strategies that we try and take back to the operators. I'd love to read the room a little bit here with our guests as well, and I'm gonna throw Cameron in the deep end here if you don't mind. Obviously, you've come through the ranks here with Premier Golf into Troon, and seen and managed a couple of 100,000 rounds of golf, which is a lot. What do you think are the top three, if you were to do a quick poll here alongside our guests, out of this list when it comes to player experience factors? What are the top three you need to get right? Course design, course conditioning, clubhouse amenities, pace and flow of play, playing partners, accessibility, and tee times and value costs. Like, what ranks top for you, and the service that you're looking to offer?
Yeah, I mean, obviously all are very important. And we actually work directly with players first. So we do email surveys and we kind of get feedback based upon what the players have experienced on their rounds. And we kind of get some feedback from that, which helps us greatly. But definitely top two, without a doubt, are pace of play and course conditioning. Those are far and away the top two we get, no doubt. Then kind of the playing partners and the value and cost are both kind of in that, I'd say that third and fourth area. So, but far and away, pace of play and course conditioning are top two for us.
So before I launch Mike into the same question, Cameron, can you give us an idea of how much would we pay to play a round of golf at Walter Hall, just from a value/cost point of view?
Yeah. So we have dynamic pricing. So our pricing does kind of vary based upon how busy we are. So our standard rack rate is about 36 for adults on the weekday, and then 44 on the weekends for just our regular rate. But that can kind of vary up towards 44 on the weekday and kind of that 53-ish area on the weekend. And then with cart, I mean, obviously with cart on the weekend, you can be getting up towards that $80 a round for sure. Got you.
Okay, Mike, from your point of view, and if your list looks exactly the same, obviously you can tell us. If you differ, we'd love to know why.
Yeah, I think clubhouse and amenities is probably the last thing that's important to most golfers. I think our challenge is always course conditioning, just because there's so much more play than there's been in the past. You can go to social media and they'll tell you, what they are looking for. Pace of play, flow of play. Obviously, when you have so many golfers on a golf course at any one time, there's going to be somebody that is a fairly new player, or they just don't understand how to play ready golf, and it's going to rub some people the wrong way. So I would say those are probably 1 and 1A. And then tee time availability is becoming a very big issue. A lot of our courses, we take tee times up to 2 weeks in advance, and they basically fill out our entire day within 30 to 45 minutes during the peak season. So we get a lot of complaints regarding tee time availability. I can't make a tee time. What do I have to do? It just goes to show the popularity of golf in this post-pandemic boom. So that the technology there, obviously, there's lots of companies that do wait lists now that do, they're looking at the tee sheet on a regular basis. They're trying to refill a time that's canceled. One of our challenges is no call, no show foursomes, which
Sure.
we are analyzing each year. And being municipalities, we are cautious in making sure that we are fair and equitable for all players. So, but we look at those things. But course conditioning and flow of play are 1 and 1A, and then I would say 2 would be tee time availability. And that just goes to show that when the weather's good and people are getting out and recreating, they want to play golf and they want to make a tee time and play when they want to play. So.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And I think there are two things that I'd like to dig into more as we go on with our session. And the one is that new generation golfer that probably came through Topgolf. What do they want from us, right? And then the other one is, how do we optimize our yield? Is there an opportunity for us to find more tee times now that we can certainly sell them? So those are two of the things I'd like to dig in a bit more. You guys have seen the poll results here with our audience. There was a clear a three-way win here with course conditioning, pace of play, and value. So the USGA has done this work as well, and they've quizzed probably like 20,000 players a little while ago, and they found that course conditioning indeed comes out tops. Playing partners, number 2, and yeah, that it goes hand in hand with, can I get a tee time to begin with, right? And can I get it with my mates? And then last and yeah, third, very importantly, is pace and flow of play. And for operators, in line with what you're saying, is that 84% of operators are counting pace according to the NGCA in the top 3 in terms of focus. So the question I have for you, are you seeing a difference in attitude towards this from the newer, younger players that are coming through Topgolf, where they're used to maybe sort of a 2 hours of entertainment, and now they're finally making their way out onto the golf course? I'm assuming that 18 to 35-year-old generation, that's now the biggest cohort in the game, according to the NGF. They're used to DoorDash and Amazon Prime and so same-day delivery, Uber. That's just part of their makeup. And are they more or less patient on the golf course if sort of they're rubbing elbows? What is your experience? Or is it actually a time for them to say, well, I'm good now, I'm off my phone, and I'm glad that I get to be out there? What are you hearing?
I think our society in general is becoming more instant gratification. And our challenge has always been, once the golfers get on the golf course, if there's really nowhere for them to go, they get a little anxious. And we all know the stories, and you can follow social media about negative interactions with a volunteer course marshal and a golfer on the golf course. So we've had instances where we've had physical altercations, marshals been grabbed by the neck and thrown to the ground, and the sensationalism of those in social media is always something people are unfortunately creating a negative perception of that interaction.
Sure.
We've tried to take the marshal interaction completely out of the equation. So we've even taken our notification even further. We've added, iPads, kiosks right at the counter where it displays 2 very important items. One is goal time and actual time, and it's literally right there. The golfer cannot miss it. We don't have to point to a TV anymore. And I think when we get complaints, I explain to them what I do. And I drive from course to course, and a lot of times if it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm heading south where I live and I got to go through the city of Seattle, I know it might take me a couple hours to get home. Okay. But I chose to jump into traffic. That was my choice. I could have waited. I could have played 9 holes or whatever, but and we try to explain it in a way that makes sense to people. We still get our complaints from time to time, but for the most part, when there's nowhere for anywhere to go, we have 350 golfers out there. It's really important that the number one thing you convey is, hey, this is how long it's going to take you to play today. So that gives them an accurate frame reference. If it's 4 hours and 20 minutes, if it's 3 hours and 50 minutes, if it's 5 hours and 10 minutes, at least we're telling them this is how long it's going to take you to play. And that has eliminated pace and flow from, I'd say, 50 to 60% of our previous negative comments. Our volunteers say basically two things. Is there anything we can do to help you and have a nice day? And that's it. And that is absolutely it. And I think that's where a lot of our golfers continue to play at our golf courses, because we now have the technology and the data to give them accurate information. And our staffs are doing a really good job. And now our staff understands how important that is. So it's not so much, I don't know how you can increase your yield when your yield is record breaking, absolutely 100% occupancy. Maybe in the off season and maybe other golf courses that need to fill their tee sheets. But boy, up here, this is a critical piece of communication technology that we use to basically allow the golfers to understand that, hey, we care. First of all, we're going to do everything we can, but we're not 5-6 hour rounds, and that's the other thing that surprises golfers is it really doesn't take that long. And we post monthly results at every one of our golf courses for all of our golf courses and Tag Marshall provides that report, which is fantastic. This is how long it takes to play in the month of July, and our pace has improved, and this is how many groups we've tracked. And the more you can get that information out to your golfing public, the more accepting they are of busy days. So it's absolutely been an invaluable tool for us handling this enormous amount of occupancy that we're experiencing right now.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. You're making some important points, and I think the one that I'm hearing is communication, right? And having data to back up your team, and also the communication and the information that you're sharing. I want to just point out another sort of range of research that was done by the University of Wisconsin Start with the USGA. And one of our good friends, Professor Gunnover, was a prof at the uni there and led that with a colleague, is also the head of golf operations at Erin Hills. It's actually also a long-term partner of ours and US Openers. So in a great position to really analyze what do golfers really want from us as operators. And I found that there's 1,000 touch points, and there's a few things that they would recommend. Add this to your playbook, right? And Mike, you spoke to this now in various ways, and I think just pointing out that corrective pace of play actions is the lowest ranking experience element in golf. Nothing is worse to a golfer. The only thing that's just as bad is other people's speed. If other people hold me up and I feel like I'm having to wait. So this is the bad end of the story. On the good end, friendliness and positive ranger etiquette or play assistant etiquette is the top delighter, right? So if we want to do two things right that are polar to players, put a friendly person out there that has data in their hand, that can have an informed conversation, and don't chase people, don't make them feel bad, and make sure that we keep things controlled from a pace point of view. And I think you made this point in various ways, information provided about pace of play expectations. And you guys have that in real time, right? Today's play right now, that's what it is, and our goal time is that. So I think you already taken this playbook. And let me just jump to Cameron here. Um, the question of should we have a marshal? Should that be called a marshal? Is the traditional marshal role still valid? How are you guys handling this at Walter Hall?
We kind of like to use the term player assistant more versus a marshal. Obviously, a lot of people still like to refer to the term as a marshal, but kind of as that player assistant, it makes the player feel like that they are there for you and you specifically. So we've tried to embrace that a lot more to make sure that, hey, we're out there for you. We want you to enjoy your experience, and we want to make your experience better if it's not. So we've really worked on that with all the guys here. Got about 12 marshal / player assistants on our staff. So we try to work with every one of them kind of to make sure that we're embracing more of that player assistant straight to the player, so that we make sure that they know that we're there for them.
Yeah, I think that's one takeaway for anyone on the call. If you have an opportunity to reframe this role, a play assistant is much more welcome with a player than a marshal, right? A marshal is generally not well received. So the moment there's a person that assists and they can have a constructive, friendly conversation, the players will work with you. And then from an information provided, we know that the vast majority of players, probably 98% of players, think that they're fast players, right? But the truth is that's not the reality. Like maybe 30-40% of the players out there are not as fast as they think they are, right? So having information about pace of playing expectations is key because it makes the players validated that the course takes care of it, right? And that other players can read the rules, which they might think may not apply to them or because they're quick, but everyone else needs to know. So that's what sets the scene. Yeah, I love that you guys use Players First so much. They're a strategic partner of ours, and in the not distant future, we'll actually feed some of their data into our dashboards so you can see the immediate correlation between the metrics that we track, that around pace, T-box wait time, all of those items, versus the sentiment data that Players First tracks so well. And I just want to point out one little bit of research that they've shared via the NGF, which is the National Golf Foundation, is that sort of pre-2021, which was a regular golf world in 2019, then COVID, then absolute ecstasy at some point where people could go out and play golf and weren't pent up anymore and just so happy to be out. And obviously that was part of the sort of resurgence of golf, which we all have seen and also enjoyed. The Net Promoter Score was really high around about that time. And then the time that things settled into sort of post-pandemic work from home, remote work, more flexibility, hybrid, more people are now playing, the Net Promoter Score actually started to dip because now it's a bit more competitive out there. So it's interesting that out of 1 million golfers quizzed, the Net Promoter Score in golf is slowly starting to erode. So we as operators need to make sure that we do the right things. And again, the top 3 items here that need attention is well, T-box is in good condition. That's conditioning. Prices, right? Value. And then the next one is the game flowed well with limited waiting time. So that is one of those key Net Promoter Score eroders. And even the Hallowed Turf of Pinehurst is getting a +20, a +12 Net Promoter Score gain by focusing on that pace of play portion and doing it really well. And their ratings shooting through the roof, right? So it's hugely valuable to your business. So a question from Mike here from Players First feedback, Net Promoter Score feedback. What are you seeing? Obviously, you want as much data as you can have so that you can do the right thing for your golfers. What are some of the trends that are coming out of that for you?
The nice thing about the Players First surveys is we can also tailor those questions to course specific initiatives that we are trying to find information about, like technology and driving ranges, things like that. So, um, we share responsibilities with some of our cities where they do the maintenance on the golf course. We have 5 properties up here in Northwest that we do the maintenance. And I think limited resources for maintenance is usually one of the things that brings our score down, especially when you're breaking it out by department. Okay, clubhouse, food, pro shop, course conditions, those kind of things. So we are getting really, really good marks when it comes to pace of play, just because I think finally our golfing public understands that with our Premier Golf division up here of Troon, we put a lot of resources and we care about that communication. And I think we've got it down to where and it's simply addition by subtraction. We're just not getting the complaints that we used to get. And when you're talking Google, Yelp, Players First, I mean, everybody has a voice now. Everybody has a lens and a platform to tell the world what they're displeased about. So obviously that's a game changer for all of our operations when we have to sometimes play defense. We get the rogue complain about pace of play, and usually it's a golfer that says I was out there for 5 hours and 20 minutes, and then we can go back and show them, well, actually we had you tee off at this time, you finished this time, it was 4 hours and 45 minutes. We don't like to do that because that just puts us in a defensive posture.
Sure.
And we've already failed if that person is writing that negative review because we didn't communicate as well. And as everybody knows, not everybody reads the signs. We have to do more than just have that kiosk there. We actually have to verbalize and communicate what the pace of play is. So, I mean, we're doing everything we can to communicate with every golfer, but we miss them. We miss one or two, or they don't hear it, or they don't get it, they don't see it. So I think that's how we judge our success. Is I call it the success of silence. When it comes to pace of play, nobody will write a report or review, say, man, pace of play was great. I love Tag Marshall. No, they don't write anything.
Sure.
But if they're unhappy, oh boy, Cameron will tell you, he still gets the rogue complaint about pace. And I just don't want our managers to have to play defense and have that defensive posture. So, and we recognize if we get those complaints, we failed somehow.
Yeah. So, 100%. We're going to dig into the tool in just a minute, and Cameron is going to share a bit more how he deals with that sort of thing. Because if you don't have data, then you're completely on the defense, right? Then what are you going to say? It's like, we're sorry, here's your money back, right? But at least you have a benchmark. So just to conclude here quickly, so Players First, they shared further research here that there's a few things we need to get right as operators if we want our Net Promoter Score to shoot up. Players want to feel welcome, so that communication piece certainly key, and have the good attitude staff. They want to see good flow of play on the course, no wait, ideally, or at least have good communication so that they know what to expect. And they want to meet on-course staff, right? On-course staff is key to make players feel welcome. And it's exactly as you said, Mike. We're here to help. How can we be of assistance, and have a nice day, right? That already means a lot to players, right? So then you see restaurant visits go up, Net Promoter Score goes up. That's good for business, good for return business. And if players are not feeling welcome, the flow wasn't great, they haven't met anyone out there that might help them, it hurts the business. So simple equation. And unfortunately, the flow portion, as you're saying, or fortunately, is one that's taken for granted. You need to do this well, but nobody will compliment you on it ever. But if you don't do it well, they'll all tell you, right? So Mike, from oversight against your roster of courses, you obviously have the sort of 30,000 foot picture. You want to see how many rounds we tracked, what's the round time, what's the on pace percentage, is the team dialed into the system, are they taking martial notes, all of those things. So, from an MCO point of view, yeah, you really get the bigger picture. If you're looking back in time here, there's a bit of a COVID dip that we can see. Like, we obviously don't want to give away all your trade secrets. I'm going to scoot through this quickly, but from your point of view, um, you want to know how the course is performing, where are the rock stars, where are the guys that need a bit of assistance. How is it helpful to you from a top level management point of view to have this data?
Well, it's repeat visits. It's continuing to serve the same customers over and over again. We are very unique up here. We are a network of 11 golf courses that are owned by 7 different municipalities. So we share an integrated loyalty program in our 60,000 golfer database. They travel from premier course to premier course. And we want to make sure that the information that we provide in a monthly report is posted at every golf course. So if somebody is living in Bellevue and there's a tournament going on at the Bellevue Golf Course and they take a look at Walter Hall, hey, Walter Hall plays pretty fast. Let's go play Walter Hall. So we all those 600,000 rounds that we're talking about, we share a lot of the same golfers that go from municipal course to municipal course, especially up in Cameron's area. There are 3 courses up there, and if you looked at the crossover play, it's tremendous. It's amazing. A lot of people from Cameron's course, and Cameron's been at Cedar Crest and Marysville. He's been at Legion Memorial, and he's been at Walter Hall. So those are the 3 big courses up there. And he sees customers, the same customers. Some are from Legion, some are from Cedar Crest, and so forth. So as a collective group, we want our premier portfolio to resonate positively when it comes to choosing where you're going to play golf. So and that comes from the experience. New golfers are great, but new golfers are not going to fill the coffers. You want the return visits time after time after time.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
our rounds are up and our revenue's up. We seem to continue to grow our revenue per round. Our loyalty program gives targeted discounts to our most loyal customers. So one of Cameron's best customers who plays Walter Hall 3 days a week can go to Marysville and receive the same discount. And it's integrated in our system. So it's really allowed us to grow up here in the Northwest as far as more and more facilities. Since I took over this job in 2019, we're 9-0 in contract renewals, but more importantly, we've added 2 new properties to our portfolio. So our business model is attractive because we can show the crossover play and the benefit of this collective group of courses that share this traveling database that go up and down I-5 up here. So it's absolutely critical that you take care of each golfer each and every day, and so they want to come back and play again.
Yeah, I really like the holistic view on it, because what you're doing is good for golf in the area and it uplifts your whole business, right? And it's great that you've got the data across both from a player crossover, but also from an operational performance point of view. And it's great to see.
Well, and one other thing, Bodo, I'd
Yeah.
like to mention, we do get comments about other golf courses from our customers. Why doesn't this course have tag marshal? Sometimes they don't know that we don't manage these other
Okay.
courses. So I think that's a feather in tag marshal's cap.
Yeah, yeah,
People are recognizing we do have tag marshal. Hey, I played over here. They don't. Why don't they have it?
yeah.
So they are paying attention. They are paying attention. So
Yeah, I think the fact that you make it so visible, right? It's in the clubhouse and it's part of your welcome communication and your starter style. We're going to talk to Cameron just now, who has got dialed in at Walter Hall, but here you can see it exactly to your point. The performance at West Seattle versus Bellevue. So if I wanted to play at, on both sides of town here, the on-pace performance across the season is fantastic, right? So if your average round time comes in at 4:13 or 4:22 and it's a busy course and I can play that course for $40, that's great value, right? So I think you dialing in from the top down and having the accountability here too for the teams and giving them the tools so they can succeed. The proof seems to be in the pudding, and it's exactly as you're saying. Everyone has got um, uh, a voice now, right? And you have to take that on the nose, but you can do that much better if you have data and you can have you can have real feedback for the players. So let's look at Walter Hall with a bit more details. Just taking a step back. So from Tag Marshal's point of view, we have a number of technology options that would cater to walking golf courses, such as Bandon Dunes, for instance, but all the way into your daily fee courses that want to have a GPS screen and that sort of adds some automation to the workflows and gives the players more accountability and also obviously amenities. And then we've got a hidden away tracker in the carts, and we can put that into any golf cart. So from my understanding, you are not tied to one brand of card necessarily. You can do wherever you feel you get the best service and price. And then we will come in on top and install our system, and you get the data across all the courses regardless, even if you were to switch out. So in Walter Hall's case, Cameron, this is your setup, more or less. Just remind me what fleet do you guys run at the moment?
We have EasyGo electric carts at the moment. We have the classic carts installed on those. We do not have any of the walking handheld ones at the current moment.
Things are certainly busy. So this is what Cameron and the team would look at. It's the sort of top-down bird's eye view of what happens out on a golf course. This is not right now, Cameron. Mike, you don't have to worry. That's a story that was designed just so we can show the logic here briefly. Cameron, talk to us a little bit about two things. Who have you got dialed in at the course out of your team? How do they look at this information? And then what do you see on the course right now that your team would jump on and pay attention to?
Yeah, so as far as what we have going on here, we have TVs, multiple in the pro shop. So we have one directly showing the map live, showing goal time and current pace of play as well. So that's live, and we also have a TV right in front of the players' faces when they check in of goal times and pace of play times for all the premier courses for the last month that we had. So right now we're displaying all of the August times at the moment. So we have that. Our player assistant has an iPad as well on the course that shows tee sheet and has Tag Marshall live on there as well. I always have it up back here in my office as well if I ever need to interact with anything on the course that requires immediate attention. So we have basically 3 to 4 eyes looking at it each time. It's me, it's player assistant, it's whoever's in the shop working, and it's the players themselves that can see it when they check in. And as far as this, let me backtrack a second. We run on Club Profit. So we are integrated with Tag Marshall with Club Profit. So when we have that TV up in our pro shop, it shows what players are with what group. So it'll show, hey, Joe is red, he's getting slow. So we know exactly what group that is, and it shows what cart numbers they're in. So we can go out and figure out exactly who that is in real time. As far as this situation, green means everything's good to go, they're on pace. Orange means they're delayed, so that means somebody's causing them. to slow down. It's not necessarily their fault. Red is slow, kind of getting towards that delayer, which is what we try to avoid the most. The purple delayer is what we try to avoid ever seeing. But if we do get to that point, when we see those reds and those purples, that's the ones we need to jump on immediately. Because that means those are the groups that are causing all the rest of the players behind them to back up. So in this instance, if hopefully it would never get to the point where they are purple, but we would get the player assistant out to hole number 8 where there's cart 28 because they're causing the groups behind them to be slow. So we're going to jump on that immediately and make sure we figure out a remedy to fill that gap, either whether that be just give them the first kind of that warning, hey, we see that you're a hole behind. If you could do the best you can to catch up, that'd be great. We don't want to really ever get to the point where we have to have them skip a hole, but if it's necessary for a 300 plus golfer day, then we know that we have to do that. And then we'll do the same thing with cart number 2 there on the back 9.
So it's obviously great to have the line of sight. Your team can then surgically go to where the issue is before it becomes an unsurmountable problem. And I like what I'm hearing here. You're saying, hey guys, you're half a hole out of position, you're half a hole behind, or you're a hole behind. Because that is something that players will compute, and especially if you can show them, right? And this is where the traditional marshal might say, hey guys, you're slow, get on with it. And the players will just lose it and hopefully not physically get involved. But it's just not a good position to be in for anyone who's trying to assist everyone else on the golf course, right? Because that's your responsibility. And making sure that you have the competency to do this job well, and your team has the tool kit that they need to be at the right place at the right time.
To kind of add to that, if we see them as orange or red, maybe we kind of send a player assistant out that way, just kind of do a run and make sure that hey, at least the players see him out there. Maybe we won't say anything quite yet, just to give them a chance and not kind of make them mad or upset by giving them that early warning. Yeah. But if they have to get to that point, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, it's all about how you position the message, right?
Cameron's being a little bit shy. I mean, he's out there a lot. I really recommend when it gets to the point of a delayer, that a pro shop staffer, not a volunteer marshal, go out, and most importantly, a head professional if possible, because they're going to have the decorum to communicate with the golfer and get them to comply with the request more so than the volunteer, because that's really the rub of the road right there, is when you have a situation where you're asking the golfer or group to speed up. And this is where those interactions turn negative most of the time. If you don't have a skilled communicator coming out of your pro shop to, hey, how are we doing today? Just want to let you know we're running a little bit behind. If you can do the very best you can to catch up to the next group, we really appreciate your efforts. And thanks so much for playing. Those kind of things without, hey, get going, get moving, those kind of things, because both issues are important. You do have all those golfers behind you, and we want to make sure that they're not unhappy, but it's a critical communication point. And I have seen Cameron go out there and communicate, and I think all of our GMs understand that if they have the time to go handle that situation, they will go out instead of deploy a player assistant. Sometimes they don't have the time, and the player assistant does have to make that communication initially, but that's where we spend a lot of time educating our player assistants on how to do that. So, but nothing's going to get a group to comply better than the golf professional themselves going out and just, encouraging them and interacting with them positively.
Yeah, and that's why it's obviously critical that they have the right information so they don't waste their time looking for problems. And it's all about how you position the message. And there's a course that we work with in Tennessee, and they've flipped the script even a bit further. They've got the screen system, and then they've got sort of pre-programmed message that automatically informs the players when they're starting to fall out of position, and it says, hey, you're falling out of position, please help us out and speed up. The course, the city, the country and the universe thanks you, right? So, so they, they've got a sense of humor about it, and obviously that lands nicely with players. Um, yeah, we've got problem groups that we can obviously list, right? So you can see where the issues, and then you can also check what's our time to recovery. Have we fixed the problem, right? Did our guys go out there and were we able to fix the problem, and how long did it take us? Because sometimes it takes a bit of time, sometimes it's instant. So it's good to have that. And then from a communication slash management point of view, we obviously shoot out regular updates to you guys so you can see how your performance is, and that then leads you back into the system data. Um, Cameron, back to you, and maybe back to the case of somebody complains a week later that they had a 5 hour round, and they so upset, and it's stayed with them for a week and they want their money back. And like in terms of data, there's the track map, right? So every round has a recording that we can go back to at any time. We can see who the players are, and then we can look at what really happened. Like, how is that helpful to you when it comes to sort of management of sort of post-round situations?
I think it's two things. One is obviously kind of you mentioned it there when we get those players first surveys. Hey, I played on so day and I played in 5 hours and 30 minutes, and you're just thinking to yourself, there's absolutely no way that that's possible. I mean, we've obviously here when we get 320, 330 golfers on some weekend days, we can be pushing 5. There's no doubt about it. But when you see stuff like that, it's really important to have that tool in Tag Marshall to kind of go back. We have all the cart signatures for what cart they took. We can go back and see exactly where they went and how fast it was. So when we have that, say that data there, round time 4:28, but they're trying to tell me it's 5. I can show them that, hey, this is what we saw you clock your round at. It wasn't really that 5 hour, obviously in a good manner, not to make them even more upset, but to show them that data and that they really didn't play in that amount of time and it did take this long. And 2, it shows us also kind of those areas where people are driving where they shouldn't be.
Sure.
If we have, say, 90-degree rule on the day, it's kind of showing where carts are driving and where they shouldn't be. So it kind of shows us areas where we can kind of focus on making sure that people aren't driving in the future.
Yeah, I think you segue into the geofence part of the conversation, and Mike, you mentioned that obviously with so much traffic on the golf course, you need to really look after your turf, and it does rain here or there, so the geofencing obviously helps keeping people where they're supposed to go rather than causing nightmares for your superintendents. I want to skip into the data here because this is really the business end of what you're doing, right? And here's the Tag Marshall Analytics Lab where we're looking at a single day. That's an example where we then see every single tee time as it went through the day. So that's your 6 or something start right through. Last tee time is actually quite late. Obviously, you've got fantastically long days in Seattle. And here you can see that there was a group around about the 8:04 that went and turned the layer, right? And then the team actually caught that and fixed things again, right? And if you don't do that, that entire day starts to derail. And then later on, another group, and again the team got on top of that. And just from a data point of view, that's a great post, but you guys are looking at this live. And then we've got the breakdown hole by hole runtime, how the hole's playing versus expectation, which are the holes that are automatic, and then we're looking at the pace distribution, which is ultimately how did our day go from a pace point of view? How many of the rounds were faster than goal time, on goal time, within 10 minutes, and slow? And just yeah, this day, obviously fantastic success, but it happens by design, right? And then you can look at the whole season, and you've brought through that whole season at Walter Hall to date, up to about 10 days ago, in 4 minutes 17 versus your 4:20 goal time. So, yeah, I want to applaud you because, again, if you don't do that, if you don't put the effort in, if you don't have the tools in place, if your team doesn't have the competency, with so much traffic, it does go bad, and you get very different results. Um, from a data and management point of view, Cameron, how are you using this to check back in on performance of your team, and also obviously holding everyone accountable, looking or maybe also reporting how you're doing? How is it used at Walter Hall?
Yeah, so actually for this instance, that's a Wednesday that you're showing there, and we actually have our senior men's club every Wednesday. So we've come to learn from Tag Marshall and from certain groups which groups are being slow on those Wednesdays. So we've kind of put plans in place to mitigate exactly kind of those morning times around 8:39 there, to make sure that we have enough staff at that time, and to make sure that we have player assistants out there that are making sure that those guys don't become delayers.
Mhm.
And the same thing goes for that afternoon time where we had our junior club, and we know that they're going to be kind of in that slower range. So we need to make sure that we have plans to help mitigate that as well. And actually, if you can go ahead one slide, that'd be great.
Sure.
Maybe because we actually run a 4:20 goal time all 7 days of the week.
Hmm.
And actually, maybe as a manager looking at this and looking at weekend data, maybe I need to kind of adjust that upwards a little bit. So
Hmm.
this data helps tremendously. So if I'm averaging maybe more in the 425, 430 range on a weekend, I can adjust that goal time to be set there instead. So I can kind of learn from this data exactly what days and what times during the day I can focus on making sure that I'm more on top of it and that my staff is more on top of those times.
Yeah, I like that you want to learn from data, right? Be data led. You can see that your day starts at 3:44, nice and quick, and then start of week Monday through Thursday is actually around about the 4:10 mark. So you might even tighten your goal times a little bit. But this is where, Tag Marshal is great because it gives you the opportunity to do a staggered goal time approach, right? You can say we want our day to start faster. Let's set it to 3 hours 50 because we want to make sure that we don't just hold our early starters, the first few tee times, accountable towards the 4:20. Let's get them around a bit quicker so that we can start the day well. And that normally has a nice impact on the rest of the day. But also from a staffing point of view, obviously, anecdotally, where are the key times that we need to pay attention, but the data really shows you that so that you can stay ahead of it when it comes to staff allocation.
Especially the time by time there. I mean, obviously the 7 to 9 o'clock range, I'm going to
Mhm.
focus more on my staff focusing on the first tee.
Yeah.
I don't have as many golfers on the golf course, and I want to make sure that I'm getting everybody on time so I don't ruin the whole day. And then when we get up towards this midday, kind of that 11 to 10, 11, 12 time, obviously the course is much more busy and you can see round time starting to go up. So I'm going to focus a lot more of my staff to be on course and make sure that the pro shop staff are running the first tee and make sure I got those player assistants on the course.
Yeah. Mike, I see you got your hands up.
Yeah, one of our
You-
tricks of the trade, everybody wants to see a positive number when it comes to average round time. So
Mhm.
we set our goal times a little bit later, and we set our goal times to what would be a good result on a very busy day. So,
Mhm. Sure.
last year we do an awards type of scenario where we recognize the top teams and the top earners in different departments. Well, Cameron's team was the team of the year last year over all the premier properties. So his NOI just was screaming better than anybody else. So I mean, that's the bottom line for operators is
Mm.
what's your bottom line revenue? And your bottom line revenue comes from occupancy. So
Sure.
the fact that Cameron's team pays so much attention to this issue resonates on the back end and in the pocketbooks of our clients. So that's the one thing that people should take out of it is if you don't pay attention to pace of play and flow of play and customer satisfaction, you're going to lose rounds and you're going to lose revenue because they're going to go elsewhere.
Sure. Yeah, it's great, Cameron, and I think the competency that you have and the care that you and the team have shows in the results here, but also obviously in the business results, and well done for that. Just taking a step back, I know what a lot of our partners do is they set different goal times for different scenarios, right?
Yeah.
So
Hey,
they might
Bodo,
say, yeah.
I've got to sign off. I got a meeting in 2 minutes. I appreciate the invitation to join you all today. And Cameron's one of our best operators. I'm going to let him take it home.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for giving us
Thanks.
your time. We know you're busy, and it was great to see you as always.
Thanks, everyone.
So what a lot of our operators do is they set different goal times for different scenarios, right? So that in this case, you might say, well, our first few days in the week, we're actually trimming goal time down. And then on the busy day, in line with what Mike's saying, we're saying, well, let's run it to 425 and achieve that. But the opportunity you might go a level deeper, right? Because you can, on a single day, you can set different goal times in the day, and that staggers. So what a lot of operators are doing, they're saying, well, let's start the day quickly. 3 hours 40 is our goal time for the first few tee times out, and then we set that to 4, and then we go to 4:15. So that we've got more controls, and they might then even go as far as saying, if you want to play your 18 holes in 3 hours 45, we will give you that fast lane golf experience. Pick these tee times, right? But you need to commit to that. So there's a nice opportunity here to actually dial that into your dynamic pricing, and the nice result that you're getting is players can get what they want, right? Which is a fast round, but they have to commit and they have to do it, and pay a premium potentially. But also you can tighten intervals in that period because things are moving significantly quicker, and very quickly you get an additional tee time that you never had. So yeah, we'd love to dig a bit more into the data here with you and the team, Cameron, so that our team can help you look for opportunities like this. It's always possible to squeeze out a bit more yield if you are led by the data. We're almost on time here, and so obviously it's my job to keep us going. I'm the player assistant, not the marshal. Just one more item here of that looks at Walter Hall's stats. So it shows very clearly that 8% of players are responsible for impact on around about 40% in terms of the delays. And that is a golf course that is fantastically well managed, right? So I can assure you that if the team, Cameron, the team didn't pay this much attention, this would completely be blown out, and you would have many more delayers causing heartache for virtually the whole volume of play, right? So this is what things look like, and for you guys to dial this in and shave off another 2 or 3% of delayers has a big impact on the groups that are delayed, and it's already running really well. So this is because you hold yourselves to high standards. And then the other thing to really understand, dial into, is the hole by hole runtime. And there's a few things that are interesting here because you have some, I suppose, design challenges at hand, right? So what are some of the things that you've learned here from a runtime point of view, and dialing things into that data?
Yeah, I mean, Walter Hall, the course itself, the back nine is much more difficult than the front nine. Front nine is very back and forth, whereas the back nine, a lot of blind tee shots, a lot of water, so there's a lot more to worry about. And obviously, we try to focus our player systems more on the back nine because of the level of difficulty. Obviously, is going to lead to slower play. But looking at this data, it helps us a lot to kind of correlate that with it and go and check on those holes specifically. So whereas on the front nine, 2 and 4 are two of our hardest holes in the golf course. So we kind of expect that to be a little bit slower. So we obviously are going to check on it, but that's something we kind of already are expecting to happen. On the back nine, lots of blind tee shots. So we kind of have our player systems focused on those where we can kind of help them out to kind of tell where people are. It's really hard to tell when you have blind tee shots exactly where people are. So, and then obviously we see here towards the 15, 16, 17, 18, there's a little bit of slowing. This 15 especially, which is one of our longest par fives, and a lot of people think they can reach it in two. So we need to put more focus on that from the data, and that's okay. The data is going to tell us that, and we'll make sure that there's more people out there at that time. But hopefully we can catch it before then, because once people get to that 15, 16, 17 area, there's not much time left that they can do to catch up. So
Sure.
we try to catch it before then, but the data shows us areas we can work on more.
Yeah, that's great insight. And sometimes what we're seeing is that you need to buy time, right? You need to actually sometimes set up a hole to be a bit more difficult so that you can buy time for the next hole that normally causes bottlenecks, right? Or you set up the holes that are more difficult to play and might cause wait times. You set those up to have the easier pin placements, right? So those are all things that you can obviously navigate. And the more you look at the data, you can then see, is what we're doing working for us? Are we getting better? Because it's all incremental. Yeah, just so we're about to close out. Here's what's visible. The expected time, goal time. So that's all like a control room, right? And that's visible to all the players. You're not gonna be able to ignore it, and it's very clear that there's a system in place. It's very clear that it's expectation, and so from your point of view, what's the player response? Are they buying into this? Are they saying? What are they saying when they see this data, and then obviously they're coming through at 417, like your entire season is gone? What's their feedback?
Yeah, so I think it's really, obviously they're going to see it, and they're going to ask about it. Even if people don't read it right away, they're going to ask you, hey, how's the pace today? How are we looking today? And we can be honest about it, and that's okay. Because even on a weekend where we got 330 golfers and it's going to be close to that 5-hour mark, if they know that coming into the round and they're expecting that, they're usually okay with it. So if you have a combination of that and a combination of player assistants that are out there on the course monitoring them the whole time, you're not going to get a negative response from it. And so even with that slow time, there's still a lot of happiness out of that, and that leads to obviously what we talked about before, where people are going to spend more money on those other things like in the restaurant or the pro shop, because they're happy even though they had a slower round, but that was expected. So a lot of players respect that they know that ahead of time.
Yeah, I want to please do some credit here, because your entire season came through your Saturdays, which is clearly a key day in 424, right? So that 5-hour rounds really don't happen, and that's by design. That's because you pay so much attention. But I do see the point in, well, you're clearly communicating, and you're setting expectations, and it's not going to be perfect every day, right? But you're getting it right very, very often, and your players obviously thank you for that. And so do I, Cameron. That was fantastic. I really appreciate your time. And here's some of the good people at Tag Marshall that make things happen with us. There's Joey Walters, our GM. He's up your neck of the woods as often as he can. Michael Glanville Smith, who's the partnership executive in the area. If you have any questions, he's the product expert. Give him a shout. And David Hamilton is our VP of Business Development out of Augusta, always available to chat. Cameron, fantastic to have you. Well done again on your great season, and also getting the award here recently with the group. It's fantastic to see. Loved having you on, as well as Mike, and getting your insight. And I hope that your season ends smoothly now. You've got some aeration coming up, I was told earlier. A bit of a breather, and then hopefully lots more golf, obviously, and great weather. You don't want it to end too soon, but well done on what you guys, you and the team are doing at Walter Hall, and it's really an outstanding performance. So from our point of view, we're delighted to work with you guys, and that you're dialing into the program so well. Thanks, Cameron.
Thank you. Appreciate having me on. Thanks a lot.
No, it was fun. Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for your time. We'll chat soon.